Hello students, I am Ashvini Palwankar speaking from Sevasadan D.El.Ed College, Pune. Today we will have revision of Proficiency in English Part 2 S4 frequently asked questions in the board exam papers and questions and answers. First question which is asked always is emergent reading. What is emergent reading? So, as we all know, emergent reading is nothing but the child's knowledge about reading before the child goes to school, before the formal reading of the child, formal education of the child starts. The child has certain knowledge about reading. So, what are the stages of that knowledge? Firstly, the child makes difference between the books and the toys. The child knows which is the book, which is the toy. Then the child slowly imitates the family members. The child holds the book, turns the pages, and then responds to pictures. Through practice, the child learns so many things. The child enjoys listening stories again and again by the family members. Then child likes to read the pictures. The child likes to read the print words. Then slowly it starts reading the words, and slowly it starts reading the variety of reading books, nursery rhymes, etc. So it's nothing but the emergent reading. Then the next question comes in the exam is about what is choral reading. Naturally, choral reading, it tells us about the reading in the classroom. Teacher and students read together. So the whole class read with the teacher. So if we think on this concept choral reading, then we will understand what are the actual benefits of this choral reading. In this choral reading, the students listen to the teacher's pronunciation, stress and intonation, and then the child tries to imitate the same. And so the drawbacks in the speech of child, they are removed, and through practice the child learns so many things from the teacher. It improves the reading ability of the child. The child starts reading the sight words, different kinds of words, sentences, and the child at last reads on its own. So this is the benefit of choral reading. Then the next question always comes is what is intonation and mention it types. So also a short note can come on intonation. So we all know that intonation is nothing but rise and fall in the pitch. While speaking, sometimes we ask question, sometimes we exclaim the sentence. So it shows the change in the pitch of the voice. Our tone changes, our pitch changes, our volume changes, and it reflects naturally the meaning. Why should we change all the time the tone and pitch of the and volume of the speech? Just to convey certain meaning, to convey certain message through our speech. So change in speech is it directly relates to the meaning of the sentence. So there are three types of sentences: falling, rising, and falling, rising. Naturally, falling sentence, a falling tone, it deals with the fall in the pitch when we speak. So normally when we give some command, open the door, close the window, so it's a falling tone. Then normally when we request someone, please give me a pen, so it's a rising tone. Okay, so sometimes we use falling, sometimes we use rising, and sometimes also we use falling rising. It's a combination of both the intonations. It's a very interesting term, and it directly relates to the uh, meaning. It directly relates to the feelings, emotions of the speaker. Then it comes to the advantages of silent reading. What are the advantage? What is the silent reading? The reading in mind is called as silent reading. So if we think in our mind, a straight away thinking, What is the benefit of silent reading? Naturally, when we read something silently, if it is a storybook, we enjoy it. So we read for entertainment, isn't it? We read for entertainment. So it's a silent reading. Then we sometimes we prepare for the exam, and it is for in-depth studies. When our exam approaches, we do silent reading. So it's in-depth study for the exam, preparation of exam. uh, we study deeply through silent reading. Sometimes it saves time also, because when we speak, when we read loudly, it is time consuming, and when we read silently, it saves our time. And when we read silently, we do lot of understanding, because we concentrate on the words in the text, so it's a greater assimilation. The comprehension is more, the understanding is more, we get lot of information because we are calm and quiet and we concentrate on the words, isn't it? So it's a habit of independent reading. And also we like to read slowly, we understand, and then the interest is developed in the reading. Then the next question is, which activities will you arrange to develop reading skill of your students? Or it may be twisted like this: describe some games and activities for developing reading skill of students. It may be for 4 marks. So, if we want to develop reading skill in our students, what kinds of games and activities will we use in our classroom? This is the question. So, I request all of you to read the question very carefully and then think about the answer and then write it. So, naturally, it's a matter of practice. You do a lot of practice for this. For the games, we can ask the students for development of reading skill. We can ask the students to identify the word and read it. If we show them some flashcards, we ask them to read the word given on the flashcards. Identify the sentence and read it. So, what is the sentence? Read it one by one, word by word, so it can be a game. Then we can also have spelling games, word games, sentence games. We'll see it afterwards. Reading with the help of pictures is also a very interesting activity. We can show them the picture of a garden, and we can ask them to read the contents, read the picture of a garden. A girl is sitting on a swing, and a boy is playing on the seesaw. So in this way they are supposed to read the picture. Then substitution table is also one of the exercise. Sentence strips can also use, flashcards can also be used. Then we can show them some passage and we can ask them some questions. So now let us see some games which are useful for the development of reading. Some spelling games are there. The students sit in a circle and then they complete the spelling of a word one by one. So one student tell one letter, then another letter. In this way, they go on continuing the uh, in a circle playing this game until the entire word is spelled. The student whose letter misspells the word, it is out, so it sits down. So in this way, in a circle, this language spelling game can be played. Then another spelling game is divide the class into teams. Then students one by one write the spelling of allotted given word on the board. The team which writes correct spelling scores the points. In this way, spelling game can be done. Then word games can be taken in the classroom. Word scramble. The students get the scrambled word, and they have to rearrange the letters and spell it correctly. Another game is write the words across the two sticks of the same color and let the kids match up the two halves of the stick. That means half of the spelling is written on the one stick and half of the spelling is written on the second stick. They have to match up the two halves of the sticks. Sentence games can also be taken. So again, the scrambled sentences they have to arrange. This is one of the game. Then the second game is they have to make the sentence longer. For example, I jump high. In this way, one by one, the students will add this word and make a longer sentence. I jump high on the ground. I jump high on the ground happily, in this way. Then the next question always comes is advantages of reading. So, overall reading, what are the advantages? First and the most important advantage of reading is you get enjoyment through reading. Before we start formal reading, as we have seen emergent reading, we learn a lot of stories. We learn to read a lot of stories, lot of pictures. So it's a kind of entertainment. Reading, reading is very helpful for entertainment. The next important thing is we get knowledge, we get information, and it improves our vocabulary, it enhances our vocabulary, it is helpful in writing skill, it is helpful in speaking skill, and it helps us to improve spellings also. We get familiar with various kinds of spellings, so it's helpful for that also. Then the next question always comes is voice modulation, how it is important to develop reading fluency in the students. So voice modulation, let us see first the concept. Voice modulation means change in the voice. The effect is created by changing the voice, mostly in podcast and in all those medias. Voice modulation is very important. We make our voice louder, softer, lower, or like this. We change our voice to create some effect. If lion is speaking, then the voice should be louder. If the mouse is speaking, the voice should be softer. So voice modulation creates a good impact, good effect in the reading skill. So it develops reading fluency in the students, and the listener understands the meaning properly. So it is used in all types of writing. You can give some example in this answer. What techniques will you use to teach sight words? This is the next question. Actually, let us first see what are the sight words. You have to, if 3 marks question is there, you have to write 2 sentences, 3 sentences about introduction, what is sight words. Firstly, you can write them here, that high frequency words, frequently used words in the sentence, in the text, are called as sight words. The photographic image is created in the mind of the reader, and the reader learns that word uh, without spelling the word. So whole image of the word is created in the mind of the reader. So that is called as sight word. Frequently used words, high frequency words, again and again we use those words in the text, so they are sight words. Now it is asked that what techniques will you use to teach sight words. So for teaching sight words, some techniques are purposefully used. Let us see what are the techniques. See and say the word. So you can uh, flash the flashcards, flash the cards before the students, and you can ask them to see and say the word. So looking at the flashcards, they say the word, complete whole word. Say for example, it is chair. You show them the word chair and ask them to repeat the word chair without spelling the word. Say and spell the word. You can also, in the next technique, you can also ask them to spell the word so that they learn the spelling. Then arm tapping. On the arm of the child learns the spelling of that particular word by tapping on the arm, tapping the fingers on the arm. Air writing, in the child writes the word, the spelling of the word in the air. In this way, air writing. On the table writing, the child writes the word on the table. So these are the important techniques of teaching sight words. So look and say and spell, arm tapping, air writing, table writing. Then the next question comes is about the extensive reading and intensive reading to develop reading of the students. So it's a very important term of reading skill. What is extensive reading? First of all, let us see. It's a big concept, and it is a very important concept in the reading skill, or in English. Extensive reading deals with the general reading or reading for pleasure, and when you read for your own, and when you read of your own interest, then naturally you get a lot of pleasure. So it gives you general or broad understanding about what you are reading. Suppose you are reading the book on Mahatma Gandhi, or you are reading the book on Shivaji Maharaj or Lokmanya Tilak. So you have general understanding of their life, and you can, after reading the book, you can tell the important points what you understand from the book. So it's a very important term. It develops understanding, broad understanding about the text, gist of the text, and you don't focus on the details, but you focus on the general understanding. Fluency is developed, speed is developed. Then you can have the activity in the classroom, that you can take the students to the library and ask them to choose the book on their own and read it for pleasure, so that they will slowly become independent reader. So extensive reading does not focus on detail. They does not uh, you know ask the students to read something purposefully, but the students have to choose the book on their own and read it for pleasure, and it helps the students to develop all the good qualities of reading. They try to become independent reader. Then the next important term is intensive reading. Intensive reading is the classroom reading of the textbook, in which we focus on details. Suppose the child reads some lesson in the textbook, then we ask the child to answer some questions which is there on the details. We can ask them their questions related to grammar, questions related to certain information, and in this way we check their knowledge. So it is about the intensive reading. So these are the activities. We give them the story, we give them the poem, and ask the questions, specific questions on it, that is focusing on grammar and vocabulary and understanding. So this is about intensive reading. Then the next question is uh, how to use a thesaurus. So first let us see what is thesaurus. Thesaurus is a Greek term. It is developed from a Greek word treasure. So it's a treasure of the words. Thesaurus is nothing but a book which has the synonyms of the particular word. Sometimes the antonyms are also in there in the thesaurus. So through thesaurus we understand the meaning of the words, the similar words, and the opposite words. We can use them effectively in our speech, in our writing, and we can find synonym of the particular word through thesaurus. It's a very good reference book for speaking as well as writing. For example, if we want to have the read the word brave and find out the synonyms in our writing, like sometimes we use courageous, sometimes we say fearless, sometimes we can have the word heroic, valiant. In this way we can use various shades of that word through which we get in the thesaurus. So it's a very good reference book for the students. Then the next question comes is, how is dictionary useful in a year study? So dictionary is also one of the most important reference book for the students. It tells you so many things about the word. It tells you the correct spelling of the word, it tells you about the meaning of the word, the pronunciation of the word, the stress, the syllable, everything. It tells you about the usage of the word, it tells you about the different kinds of variety of meanings, collocations, connotative meanings, denotative meanings of the given word, how the word can be used in different contexts. Everything we learn through dictionary. So what are the connotative meanings? Connotative meanings means the meanings which is implied in that particular context. It is not the direct meaning which we learn, but it is the meaning which is reflected through that particular context. Denotative meaning is the direct meaning of the word. And what is collocations? Collocations means the group of words which always go together. uh, that means this group of word, they always come together. Like for example, uh, a red bus, or in this way some words they are always together. Blackboard, then in the classroom, out of the box, these words always they come together. The next question comes is, which method in the process of reading will you consider? Explain the three steps in detail. So in the process of reading, there are some methods used, some steps are used. Before we start the formal reading, always emergent reading comes in the life of the child. So the child, as we all know, child starts reading and enjoying the reading through the pictures, stories, nursery rhymes, etc. Then comes phonic reading. Phonic reading is the association of letters and sounds. How letters are pronounced, how what are the sounds of that particular letter, how the two letters combine together, three letters combine together, and they improve the pronunciation of the child. Then comes the sight reading. Sight reading, as we have seen, the whole word is read at a glance. The photographic image is created in the mind of the student. So it improves the speed, fluency of reading, and we use the eyesight for reading those words. Flashcards are used. Accuracy is developed in the child. So this is about the process of reading. What is meant by reading with meaningful chunks? 2 marks question. Meaningful chunks means reading some words, group of words together. Meaningful chunks. It develops some meaning. When some words are read together, it has certain meaning. So while reading a sentence, we have to read some words, we have to group the words together, and we have to read that group of words together. What happens due to this reading with meaningful chunks? The reader, when reads the meaningful chunks, with the help of meaningful chunks, then the listener understands the meaning. Otherwise, if it go on taking pauses at every word, then it is very hard for the listener to understand the meaning of the particular text. So it is useful for understanding meaning, and it is naturally effective reading, and it increases the speed, the fluency of the reader. So it's a very important term of reading, meaningful chunks. Then the partner reading concept is also very important concept. As the name suggests, it is the cooperative learning. The two students read together. It's a pair work. It's a pair work. The teacher, makes pairs in the class. And how these pairs are created, it is also very important. Then the two students read the text one after the other. One is good or fluent in reading, and another one is average in reading. So the child learn from each other how to read, and it's a very useful concept for developing the fluency of reading for the students who are weak in reading. Okay, so partner reading is also important concept. Then how will you develop reading fluency of your students? Voice modulation we should have. Then we should develop the how to increase the pitch, how to lower the pitch. Then while speaking some particular sentences, how the intonation should be used, various kinds of intonation, rising, falling, falling, rising. Then facial expressions are also important, gestures, hand movements, eye contact, all these things are very important. Then we should read some group of words at a time, meaningful chunks should be used. We should have the pauses at particular points. Punctuation marks should be properly used while reading. Then you should give proper stress. So these are the various important points which are useful to develop reading fluency of the students. Then some four activities for developing reading skill. We can use blackboard, flashcards, substitution tables, choral reading can be done. Then loud reading can be done, popcorn reading, silent reading, partner reading, and reading circles. You can form the reading circles, and you may encourage the students to read some particular books, and in reading circles they come together, they sit together, and then they exchange their thoughts and feelings on this particular reading of particular book. So these are the various activities. You can explain each and every activity in your own words. I hope you know the popcorn reading. Popcorn reading is nothing but reading the text one by one in the class, and randomly the students read the text one by one, so that the alertness, activeness is developed in reading. Then also you can suggest some activities to increase speaking practice. It's the next question. How to improve English speaking skills? So we all know that group discussions, seminars, debates, role plays, then oral composition, dramatization, storytelling, poem recitation, all these things are improve the English speaking skills. You can have explanation of each and every point in 2 to 3 sentences. This question is for 4 marks. It can also be asked for 3 marks. Then let us switch over to the unit 2. We can have the question like this: proficiency in writing skill. This unit tells in detail about the writing skill. The question can be asked that prepare a news about your farewell ceremony for 2 marks. And we can understand that this question is related to news writing. So you have to prepare a news. How did you celebrate the farewell ceremony? Detailed news is expected, but there is certain format of writing the news. So firstly, you have to write headline in the bold letters. Then you can make it more attractive. The passive voice is important. Then after headline, dateline is there, which explains the day, date, and venue and reporting agency. This much only. Then comes a small paragraph, brief paragraph, which tells a very short information about the news or the story. Then in detail, main body tells about the news. Then the next question comes: in brief, you explain the process of writing. It's a very descriptive question and answer. Process of writing involves so many steps. firstly generating ideas, then drafting, then editing, modifying, revising, and presenting at last. This is the last step. So firstly, what should you do? To begin with the process of writing, we start collecting the ideas, thoughts from different angles. We think on the particular point with different angles, and we just collect the ideas of that particular thought. Then in the drafting step, we write a draft. We put all the related points in sequence. We organize our points, and we use proper words, sentences, and we write a rough draft. It's the very initial stage of writing. And it go on we go on changing this rough draft in the next stages. Editing, we do the spelling mistakes. If there are something, then we correct them. Then we organize the points in the particular sequence. We do proofreading. We cancel or delete some points. We add some points. In this way, we check the spellings, the punctuation marks, and everything. That is called as proofreading. Then the next step is modifying. We change some points, change some words, and we can change the sequence. We can add some examples. Then in the next step, revise. Through just we read, rewrite, reread the whole thing, the whole draft, in a detached manner, just like a third person is reading our own draft. Hmm? Then we delete some items, we add some items, we arrange some items so as to prepare the final draft. And then in the presentation step, we uh, prepare the proper layout, and we make it more attractive, and we present it in an appealing manner. So this is about the process of writing a very important question. Then the most frequent question is features of best handwriting. How should be the best handwriting? What are the features? Normally, if we think about the best handwriting, then in our mind, the first thought comes is the impression. It creates a very good impression. If our handwriting is good, even in the examination, it creates good impression. So try to write, have the good handwriting in the exams also. And it's how is the good handwriting? How can we identify the good handwriting? It's legible, easy to read, and we sit upright. We use line paper, and we use proper spacing. The size of the letters are ideal. This distance between two letters, distance between two words, sentences is properly maintained. We set the paper properly. We use our whole arm while writing, and also we get fluency in the writing, and the beauty of the writing is developed through our handwriting. So these are the main features of best handwriting. Write your resumes for 2 marks. So what are the points of resume? A resume, it's the mirror of your personality. First, you try to understand the concept. Resume is the mirror of your personality. How are you, and how you are eligible for that particular job? You have to show this through this resume. So you have to write first of all the information about yourself, your name, address, date of birth, and your educational qualification. What are the professional qualification? D.Ed, B.Ed, etc. Then you write your experience if you have any. Then afterwards, important thing is that what are the strengths of your personality? You are punctual, then you are active, and you be like to conduct some programs of the students. So these are the strengths which you have to mention in the resume, and it should be very concise, short, but to the point. Then the next question is about a notice. If you are a cultural secretary, then write some notice of the cultural program and introduce it to the your friends. So what is the format of notice? This can also be asked question. So while writing notice, first of all you understand why notice is written. Notice is written to make the people or the students aware of something, what is happening around us. So you tell them the information about the events, about the programs which are going to happen in future. So you make them aware. So what should you write in that particular notice? All the necessary information about that particular event. So when that who is organizing the event, when that event is happening, what is the venue, where is it happening, and what is the agenda, what is the program, what is the time, what is the purpose, contact person, signature, everything you have to write on it. Then the difference between drafting and editing. In drafting, you make a rough draft, and in editing, you try to do proofreading. You try to rewrite it. Now, drafting is the first attempt of writing, and then in editing, you remove something, add something, you correct it, or you organize it in proper manner so that it will become more effective. Then the difference between coherence and cohesion. So in we all know that coherence is related to the ideas, thoughts which are connected, at the in this particular text. Ideas are connected with each other in the particular sequence. Cohesion is ideas and thoughts connected at the language level. So in coherence, again, the second point is it is this connection is at idea level, and in cohesion this connection of ideas is at sentence level. And the third point, ideas are naturally linked together. That natural linking is maintained in coherence so that it becomes it shows oneness, it shows continuity in the writing. But in cohesion, they are linked in many different ways. Ideas are linked in many different ways, like discourse markers are used to link the ideas at the sentence level. Then in coherence we understand the meaning through organization of the content, and in cohesion we understand the meaning through lexical linking, language level linking within a text. In coherence we focus on main ideas, but in cohesion we focus on multiple references, people, and events. In coherence, we refer to organize ideas effectively, and in cohesion, we refer to connect ideas at sentence level. So, this is the difference of coherence and cohesion. Both are related to the connection of ideas, but coherence is related to connection of ideas at the idea level, at the thought level, and cohesion is related to the sentence level, linking of ideas at the sentence level. This is the main difference. Then the next question always comes is the features of writing. What are the features? That's also more important, and we can have this question in many ways. In different format this question may be asked. So what are the main features? Suppose you are writing some letters, suppose you are writing a letter to your friend, then what are the different features of writing that you will keep in your mind? How should my letter be more effective? So firstly, while writing a letter, you should collect all the necessary words, all the appropriate words you should collect first of all. After collecting the words, after collecting the proper sentences, you make it more correct, grammatically correct. What tense you will be using, what are the proper spellings, what are the punctuation marks, where you have to form the paragraph. So everything should be grammatically correct, punctuation marks. Then your handwriting should be legible, easy to read. Then you can have proper paragraphs. You can have discourse markers so that there is continuous flow of the your text or your letter. Then coherence should be observed properly. There should be properly linking of the ideas. Cohesion should be there. Proper discourse markers should be used to link the ideas at sentence level. Say for example, actually I would like to come to your place, but I don't have holidays, or I am having my classes in the holidays. In this way, discourse markers like actually, no matter, whenever, wherever, you can use them in your writing. Then how will you practice in writing? You can use blackboard, you can use copybooks, dictation, substitution table. You can have various competitions to develop writing, compositions. Then discuss a topic and write sentences in a sequence. Then brainstorming and write points. You can explain every point in few sentences. Then what are the different types of diction? A diction is a style of writing. So various styles of writing. We can have formal diction. For official use we use formal diction. Then we can have informal diction. For everyday life you can have informal style of writing. If you're writing to your friend, to your relatives, you can have informal diction. Then colloquial diction, it is not a standard diction, it is related to that particular area or region. Colloquial diction. Slang diction, it's an informal or newly created diction. Dialect, it is also spoken in particular area. Jargon, it's the if in teaching field you are there, then you can have some particular words. They are related to the teaching field only. It means the group work, pair work. So these are the specific words which are used in teaching field only, and in computer field some other words are used. So the specific words in specific business or trade or group. Then the next question may be asked, how to write a dialogue? What are the things to consider while writing a dialogue? So while writing a dialogue, you first have to understand the aim of writing a dialogue. Whether you are going to make someone aware, whether you are going to inquire something, whether you are going to complain about something. So your aim should be properly decided. Then it should you know have a feel like it's a real conversation is happening, the conversation between two persons who seem to be very real. So their dialogue should reflect the real conversation. It should be descriptive, and some pillars should be used, selection of words should be proper, and you can write some small example of a very short dialogue. Then, what are the elements of a paragraph? Unity, oneness of the theme, coherence, topic sentence, and discourse markers. Now, what is topic sentence? It's a sentence which is written at the beginning of this paragraph or at the end of the paragraph, which shows the theme or general idea of that particular paragraph. Then, discourse markers are the words which join the ideas together. So this is the element, these are the elements of a paragraph. What is meant by drafting? Drafting, as we know, that it's a very preliminary step and it's a rough draft. It's just the beginning of making the final draft. There is a sequence of various points. Then there is organization of ideas we use discourse markers, and it's the first attempt of writing. Then summary writing skill. Summary writing is also a very important technique of writing skill. What is summary writing? Through summary writing, we show our thoughts, we show our deep understanding about what we have read. We try to explain what we have read, we try to explain our thoughts on whatever we have read. So, in short, in concise form, we explain whatever we have read. So, it's a very concise, short form of writing, gist form of writing, where we show our understanding, our thoughts. So, we have to read the passage again and again, understand the main idea, understand the key points, then try to avoid repetition, then try to use one word instead of long many number of words, long explanations, and we try to make it more fair. So this is about a summary writing. Then how will you teach paragraph writing? So paragraph writing has introduction, main body, and conclusion. So in the introduction we write topic sentence, which explains the main theme of central idea. Then we support the topic sentence with the help of few sentences which continue the main idea. And there is proper organization, there is unity, there is coherence, and there are various examples used for writing the paragraph. Then how report is prepared. So report, what is, first of all let us understand what is report. A report is the description of an event or situation or program which has already happened, and in short and concise form we write the main points, the highlights of that particular event. Each and every detail of that particular event is highlighted in the report. So after the program has completed, done, then we write a report. So there is a proper vocabulary, there is organization of the various events, and it is not at all imaginative. We don't add anything from our end, and we make it more factual information, detailed information, and brief sentences, and proper past tense is always used in a report. So you keep in mind all these points. Then how will you improve our English speaking skills? We try to have various competitions, we imitate the teacher's speech, we use tongue twisters, and we listen a lot of English for having good English speaking skills. So here's the end, and all the best to all of you. Thank you very much. See you soon.